just interesting. And I don't know if you guys heard about this or read this, but this is Josh Allen talking about the coaching change for the Buffalo Bills, for Sean McDermott leaving and Joe Brady hiring. We've obviously got a new head coach. And so to have those memories being made in a new spot, Allen said, I think change is needed sometimes, especially when we've been close in the past, even going back to 20-ish, 30-ish years ago. Just how close the Bills have been to winning a Super Bowl. I think this is kind of a switch that was necessary, and I'm very excited. I mean, right here. I mean, this to me tells you everything you need to know. The thing I highlighted there in gray. I think this is kind of a switch that was necessary, and I'm very excited. So he's not going to throw Sean McDermott under the bus by any means, and this is not bashing Sean McDermott at all. Like, Josh Allen's not kicking him while he's down. I thought he handled the question great, the right way. You know what I mean? Without, like I said, punching the dude while he's on the ground, right? Right? But he's right? He's absolutely right. Like, change, is needed sometimes. And you can't keep going back to the well over and over and over with the same results. And, it kind of got to that point. And I said this to Mikey a while ago when we used to bring up McDermott talk about, the Bills should fire him. And I used to say, man, look, we're talking about it now, right? As podcasters. And the radio's talking about it. And fans just in general are talking about it. Eventually, players on the team are going to talk about it. They're going to have that conversation at some point. If not with each other, with their family, with their friends, wife, whatever. They're going to have that talk. And they're going to start having those doubts about their head coach. And trust me when I tell you, it kicked in. It kicked in a couple years ago. And I'm sure these players, the problem is when you have a guy like that coaching a team for that long, and a lot of these guys on the team were there a long time, right? Deion Dawkins since 2017, Matt Milano, right? Josh Allen since 2018. You know what I mean? Trey White. Jordan Phillips was, back and forth on the Buffalo Bills. He was there for a long time. Jordan Poyer. You know what I mean? You got guys that, eventually looked at McDermott more than just a coach. You know what I mean? They looked up to him, right? Or looked to him like family. And I understand it, and I get it. You know what I mean? I totally get it. But at the end of the day, they also know as athletes that are putting everything they have out there on the field, that they know there's a goal that they all have as, growing up as kids in the sport, in high school and college. They want the feeling of a championship. They want that feeling, right? And at the end of the day, they're looking around at other teams and coaches that are winning, and they want that. They want to know. They want to have that feeling. And, they eventually have to, they came to the realization that it's probably not, unfortunately, just going to happen with Sean McDermott, right? Like, for whatever reason, right? And this tells me here, with Josh Allen saying this now, right? Your franchise quarterback, you're the face of the franchise. Let's not get it twisted. This is not, Baker Mayfield for the Bucs. And I'm not dissing Baker Mayfield or the Bucs. But Josh Allen is everything for the Buffalo Bills and the city of Buffalo. Let's be real. Josh Allen is that mega star athlete, and he's right there. He's on your team. So his words, when he says and he speaks, it means a lot. It means a hell of a lot. And by him saying this, right, in this interview, I almost want to believe that he had a talk with Bean and Bagula at the end of the season. Now, it will never come out. I doubt you will ever hear about it. You know what I mean? Josh is not that kind of guy. I don't think Brandon Bean's that kind of guy. Terry Bagula is not going to slip up and say something. You know what I mean? Because that would not be a good look, right? Because then you're also, you're hurting your quarterback too by putting his name out there, right? But I almost believe that this conversation was had after this season. Because look, I mean, if Josh Allen's saying it now in an interview, and I believe he's saying it now in an interview because time has gone by, like time has passed a little bit here, where it's not a touchy subject. Get what I'm saying? It's been months since Sean McDermott's been fired, so maybe Josh is feeling a little bit more comfortable talking about this now. Right? Because I'll be honest with you, I did not expect something like this. Like, I did not expect Josh Allen to say that, right? That I think change is needed sometimes. That I think this is kind of a switch that was necessary. And I'm very excited, right? Like, he didn't have to say that. You get what I'm saying? He could have totally worked around that question easily. Oh, Sean McDermott was a great coach here. I love that dude. He did awesome job here. I was really upset, when that he was let go. I am excited for the future. I mean, he could have kind of worked around the question. He didn't have to say that. So that to me tells me that it was on his mind. And it was something that probably was bothering him. You know what I mean? As a guy, as an athlete that wants a Super Bowl, or wants a championship, that is, right? Are you telling me that the players for the Knicks, when it was reported that they came out to the owner and said, we can't work with the coach, he's a good guy. Remember, that was reported, and it was true. And matter of fact, the owner came out. I'll talk about that in a minute, but that, I know he's won 50 games and all that, and we love him, but it's not working. You know what I mean? And luckily for them, the owner understood and backed them and said, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, you guys know probably better than I do. You know what I mean? That this is not going to happen with this coach, with Thibodeau. And now I'm not saying Mike Brown's this great coach, but Mike Brown understood what it took to at least get to a championship. Right? He had at least that pedigree. Right? He knew what it took. And not only that, he understood probably more about, what the players wanted. Maybe more of a player's coach and going, hey, okay, you guys feel more comfortable doing it this way. Right? And it came and wound up being that the owner of the Knicks had to sit down with Tom Thibodeau and said, look, the game's kind of changing and evolving, and it's not like I know you keeping it the way you want to keep it, old school and, your ways. And basically he said Tom Thibodeau told him, I'm not changing my ways. Like, this is who I am. I'm old school, blah, blah, blah. And that was that. And he let him go. He fired him. And it worked out. It worked out. So, in the case of Sean McDermott, it's very much like that. Like, I felt like McDermott had this old school mentality, unwilling to budge, right? He was sticking with the process, right? And he was never going to change the script, right? Because for him, it's working. For him, we're winning games. We're constantly in the playoffs, right? I've gotten this team out of the drought, right? This process is working according to Sean McDermott. But for us fans and ownership and the players like Josh Allen, the process only lasted so long until it wasn't working anymore. And you have to change your ways. You have to evolve. You have to adapt to whatever's going on that year. Like, Sean McDermott was never willing to change his ways. And it hurt him, and it hurt the team. And I think Josh Allen, when he says this, that it was necessary, and I'm very excited, is because he understands that now he has a coach that is a younger coach. It's a player's coach. That's an offensive-minded head coach. That's a coach that's willing to evolve and adapt and listen to the players and what they like to do, right? Not about always what you want and what your game script says, and follow the process. You know, even what's his name, McKenzie, who loves Sean McDermott, did the interview with Tyler Dunne not too long ago, said, or like a couple days ago actually, and said, I just for once wish Sean McDermott would have said, man, fuck the process. Just one time. You know what I mean? Just trust it in what you got on the field. Josh, just go do it. Go be you, man. Fuck it, man. You know what? Fuck that shit. Fuck the script. Let's fucking go do it, man. And Sean McDermott was never willing to budge off. He was never willing to budge off that. Right? Tyler Dunne even said he had to sit down with Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott had all this, you know, the script all laid down and, you know, on his desk, and this is boom, 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 boom. And we're going to do it just like this, and da, 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 da. And we're going to follow it because it works, and it works. And this is how we're going to do it, and da, da, da. And guys, it don't always work out that way. You got to adapt. Sometimes you got to take a detour. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to take a detour in life in general. You know what I mean? Because things could be working great sometimes for you. And then you hit a bump in the road, and you got to take a detour. You can't keep going the same route. I don't think Sean McDermott never got that. And I think he never got that. And I think players eventually understood that he never was going to get it. And this is the comment. I mean, that's it. That tells you everything you need to know about how, you know, or what players were starting to think inside that locker room about their head coach, even though they loved him and respected him. But that's a strong statement right there that tells you everything you need to know. I don't need to tell you much more than that. It's coming from the franchise mega superstar athlete in Josh Allen. It's not coming from my mouth. It's not coming from Tyler Dunne or, you know, some other random podcaster. It's coming from your most important player on your team. That speaks volumes on what the situation was like when McDermott was here. He's admitting that change was needed. Absolutely. Rob, how you doing, brother? It's true. Yeah, dude. I mean, he's telling you right there. He's told you everything you need to know. And it's not even a long, like, drawn out, like, you know, segment that they had there, right, on the situation. It was that quick little statement that he said, and it spoke volumes. Hit the like or the Bills get swept by the Jets. Danger zone. How you doing, brother? Yeah, y'all. Hey, you heard him. Better hit that like. Because if we get swept by the Jets, I'm going to have to go back to this podcast and, you know,